Okay, picture this. You pull off the bitumen somewhere past Broken Hill, the sun's dropping, and the little Toyota you've been driving all day just becomes your home. No caravan swaying behind you, no motorhome costing $150,000 that you're terrified to park. But here's the honest truth before we go any further. Toyota hasn't actually confirmed a single thing about this camper. So why is all of Australia already obsessed with it? The so-called 2027 Toyota micro camper that's been plastered all over YouTube and Instagram? That's not a confirmed vehicle. It's an internet-built idea, a digital render that's taken on a life of its own. Toyota Australia hasn't put out a single press release, and the global Toyota newsroom is just as silent. There's no official launch date, no product page, not even a cryptic teaser buried in the fine print. Every video, every glossy image, every wild feature list you've seen? All third-party speculation. A sharp-looking render doesn't make it real. At least, not until Toyota says so. For now, it's a rumour, not a showroom reality. So why has a digital daydream, a camper that doesn't officially exist, sparked such a fuss across Australia's highways and caravan parks? It's not just the slick renders or the wishlist features. There's something about this rumoured Toyota that seems to answer a problem plenty of Aussies feel every time they stare down the price of a new van, or try to wedge a full-sized caravan into a suburban driveway. People aren't just sharing links for the fun of it. They're treating this internet-built concept like it's the missing piece of the great Aussie road trip. But here's the catch. If it's all just a rumour, why does it feel so real? Nearly 938,000 caravans and camper vans carried Rego stickers in Australia by 2025. That's not a typo or a wild guess, that's the real verified number. It's an all-time record, and it means there are more vans on the road now than ever before. Back in 2019, the total was about a third lower. That's hundreds of thousands of extra rigs squeezing into caravan parks, trundling through the outback, and lining up at the local servo for a flat white and a pie. 17.3 million caravan and camping trips were logged in a single year. That's not just a few grey nomads doing the lap, it's families, tradies, and city slickers all piling into the mix. The money's serious too. Australians spent around $12.6 billion on these trips in 2025. Caravan parks alone took in a record $3.3 billion. That's a lot of powered sites, fish and chips, and late-night yarns under the awning. But here's the catch. The Caravan Industry Association says, the surge in demand is outstripping supply, particularly in the entry-level segment. So even with all those vans and all that cash, there's still a gap on the bitumen. The question is, who's ready to fill it? People over 55 rack up about 59% of all caravan and camping trips, according to the latest industry reports. Adults aged 30 to 54, measured separately, account for roughly 46%. And no, you can't just add those numbers together because they're drawn from different slices of the data, not a neat pie chart. What's clear is that the highways and red dirt tracks aren't just the domain of retirees in wide brim hats. The crowd now includes younger couples, families with kids, tradies in utes, and plenty of weekend warriors squeezing in a quick escape between shifts. About 87% of all camping nights are spent outside the capital cities, out where the servo is the town's social hub and the bakery does a roaring trade in sausage rolls. The boom carries money through caravan parks, local shops, fuel stops, and every little business along the bitumen. It's not just a seasonal rush or a social media fad. This is a full-blown return to the open road. Caravan parks fill up, regional towns see more visitors, and the old routines, tailgate brekkies, last-minute servo snacks, a quick chat at the shops, tick along stronger than ever. Tourism Research Australia confirms these patterns, showing that the caravan and camping boom is rooted deep in regional life, not just passing through. Owning a caravan or camper sounds simple enough, until you start crunching the numbers. That affordable tow-behind trailer? It might set you back 50 or 70 grand, but then you're staring down the barrel of a serious tow vehicle too. Think big four-wheel drive, not the family hatch. Step up to a proper motorhome and the sticker shock hits even harder. A new motorhome can easily cost as much as a house deposit. So what's missing? A camper that's small enough for the shops, cheap enough to run, and tough enough for a corrugated outback track. Problem is, the smaller the van, the cozier things get inside. Easy to park at the servo, but don't expect to swing a cat. Go bigger and you gain comfort, but you're now wrestling with towing, storage headaches, and the stress of squeezing a big rig through city streets. That gap in the middle? It's wide open, and that's where the Toyota badge rumour gets people talking. A full-sized caravan looks like freedom until you try to reverse it into a driveway or fork out for a new four-wheel drive just to tow the thing. For plenty of grey nomads, the sheer size and setup can feel more like a moving day than a holiday. Younger families and couples often don't even get that far. The upfront cost alone is enough to knock the wind out of most budgets. Tradies and weekend campers face their own pickle. You want a van that can carry tools or surfboards all week, then double as a bed on wheels for a quick run to the Cape. But here's the rub: storage, rego, fuel, towing gear, and maintenance all stack up. Australian design rules and the tiny production runs mean a compact camper can end up dearer than you'd think. The dream is simple: one vehicle that does the lot, no more swapping cars, hitching trailers, or wrangling awnings in the dark. That's why the idea of a tough little all-rounder stirs up so much chatter, even if it's just a rumour for now. Trust on the road isn't built in a day. It's earned kilometre by red dust kilometre from the bitumen to the Cape and back again. Ask anyone who's rattled a Hilux or HiAce up a corrugated track, out where the servos are memory and the only thing between you and a long walk is the badge on your bonnet. Out there, Toyota means something different. It's not just a logo. It's the quiet promise that no matter how rough the road or how far from the shops you get, you'll make it home. That reputation didn't come from Instagram reels or glossy brochures. It's been hammered out on work sites, in mining fleets, and by generations of tradies, campers, and grey nomads who'd rather swap yarns about bush repairs than brag about leather seats. So when a rumour pops up, Toyota's building a tiny camper, ready for the outback, cheap to run, tough as nails, people listen. Not because they've seen a press release, but because the badge itself changes the whole emotional equation. It's the difference between dreaming and actually hitting the red dirt with a bit of confidence. The rumours claim a price that's just right, an engine that'll run forever, four-wheel drive for the rough stuff, even a hidden bathroom and a clever layout that fits it all in. If this were real, it'd be the answer to a lot of prayers parked outside the servo. But here's the reality check. Toyota hasn't said a word. No official specs, no dealer listing, not a single line in the press room. Trust is earned, but it can't conjure a camper out of thin air. Until Toyota stamps it, a rumour's just a story, no matter how much we want it to be true. Toyota's not new to the van game in Australia, but the path hasn't always been smooth. Take the Granvia. Billed as a premium people mover, it rolled into showrooms with leather seats, a hefty price tag, and ambitions to lure families out of their SUVs. But the Granvia never really found its tribe. Fewer than 1,000 made it onto Aussie roads before Toyota quietly pulled the pin. Dealers chalked it up to a mix of high pricing and a vibe that never quite matched the rugged, go-anywhere spirit people expect from a Toyota badge. It wasn't a scandal, just a case of a good idea parked in the wrong spot. The lesson? Even Toyota doesn't chase every shiny new segment if the numbers don't add up. Now, the HiAce is a different beast entirely. This is the van you can actually walk into a dealer and order, whether you're a courier, a tradie, or someone with a dream of converting it into a rolling home. The HiAce is a blank canvas, long wheelbase, short wheelbase, diesel or petrol, ready for whatever fit-out you fancy. But here's the catch. A HiAce straight from Toyota isn't a camper. It's a workhorse, not a weekend escape pod. If you want a bed, a kitchen, or a pop-top roof, you're looking at a custom job or a third-party conversion, not a factory-built camper with a warranty that covers your favourite outback detour. So, Toyota's got the know-how, the dealer network, and a van that's already a favourite with converters. But the missing piece is a small, affordable, ready-to-roll camper. Something that fills the gap between a bare-bones work van and a six-figure motorhome. That's why the rumour feels so plausible, even if it's still just an internet daydream. Toyota's track record proves they know the market, but the right compact format is still just out of reach. Across the globe, pocket campers have become a design obsession, but not because Toyota or anyone else is rushing out a new model just for Australia. In Japan, it's a national pastime to turn tiny K-vans, barely longer than a hatchback, into rolling homes. These are the whiz-bangs of the Japanese backroads. Pop-top roofs, a sleeping platform squeezed in the back, maybe a tailgate kitchen where you can boil the billy. Most are built out of necessity, not luxury. Japanese tax rules favour small vehicles, and city streets are so tight you'd struggle to park a Land Cruiser, let alone tow a caravan. That's why the micro-camper scene thrives there. The Kaioi, for example, is a real Toyota-backed concept, a blank canvas van that can be kitted out as cargo hauler, people mover, or, yes, a tiny camper. But it's a concept, not a production model, and it's built for Japan's K-car laws, not the endless kilometres of the Stuart Highway. Over in the UK, specialists like Wellhouse have built a reputation for converting compact vans, think Ford Transit Customs and even Suzuki Jimneys, into pop-top campers. These rigs are clever, with raised roofs, sliding beds and kitchens tucked into the tailgate. The appeal is obvious: easy to park, cheap to run, and you won't need a truck license just to duck into the shops. But here's the catch. What works in Tokyo or London doesn't always translate to the outback. Australia's distances are brutal. The heat can buckle bitumen, and a corrugated track will rattle the fillings out of your teeth. Our safety rules are stricter too, so a van that's legal in Japan might not pass Rego here without serious re-engineering. Overseas, the small camper format solves urban headaches. Down under, it's a tougher nut to crack. The dream is alive, but the reality is a long way from a plug-and-play import. The real story isn't whether a slick render or a viral YouTube clip has nailed the specs of a so-called 2027 Toyota microcamper. The real story is why so many Aussies are hungry for the idea in the first place. Every AI-generated review and unsigned spec sheet floating around online is just noise until Toyota Australia puts its badge on the bonnet and stamps it in the press room. That hasn't happened. Not a whisper from the official channels, no product page, no cryptic teaser. So every rumoured feature, from the magic bathroom to the bulletproof hybrid, stays in the realm of internet wishlisting. But here's what all that chatter really shows. There's a missing link in the market, and people know it. The rumour's gone viral not because anyone believes a random Instagram reel is gospel, but because the idea itself fits the gap. Small, affordable, tough enough for the red dirt, and carrying a badge people trust. The badge matters, but it's the need behind the rumour that's doing the heavy lifting. Australians are filling the blanks with their own road trip dreams because nothing in the showroom quite fits. Until Toyota Australia makes an official call, the micro camper sits firmly in the forecast column, not the confirmed list. But the pressure's real. If Toyota doesn't answer, someone else, maybe a converter, maybe a rival, just might. The road ahead is wide open, and the demand isn't going anywhere. Right now, the only thing driving this rumour is real Aussie demand. Nearly 1 million vans and campers on the Rego, and still nothing in the showroom that quite fits. If Toyota keeps quiet, someone else might just fill the gap. The Outback's waiting. For Australia's perfect tiny camper, what would you want? Subscribe for more honest investigations like this.